We are in the heart of the Gulch. I'm your host, Tony Mendoza, and today I'm very excited for my friend. Not only are we finally drinking something today, I'm excited because he is from Scotland. He is a badass. We got Chris Andreucci in the building.
How you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Dog, how many people mess up your last name?
It's probably like 80% of people, I'll be honest.
And you told me your mom gets after it if someone messes it up.
Yes, and she's actually not the Italian side of the family. But she'll answer the phone and she's like, man, I'm not dealing with that today. They'll say it like wrong, but I'm used to it now, so I accept it.
Well, bro, welcome to Heart of the Gulch. You got some Irish, and you don't have Irish whiskey. You have some Scotch in your hand.
The real stuff.
Did you know what I poured you?
I didn't see what you poured me, actually. I trusted you, man.
Hey,
yeah.
That's what's up. I need that. You are playing a show tonight, huh?
Yes,
when we're filming. Where are you going to be playing today?
We're playing down at Loser's Bar in Midtown, so I'm in the house band there. We play about 4 or 5 times a week. Big up to Irv and Steve. They've given me a big opportunity in town, and I love playing there. So we're on there at 10 o'clock tonight.
Bro, talk to me about what it's like as a foreigner working among so many people from all over the United States and seeing just how different everyone's styles are.
It's very interesting to see because, you know, I came here with my view of country music and my view of writing songs, and it wasn't until I got into those rooms where I realized that, wow, I'm very different. And I thought for the longest time I had like imposter syndrome because I was like, maybe I don't deserve to be here. But it wasn't until I realized everybody's just trying to be in the same boat. You know, we're just trying to be better, write better songs. And I think difference and you know, contrast and changes like that are really, really good for music. You know, like people from Georgia and a guy from Scotland, it might not seem on paper that it will work, but we have got both really cool upbringings and different viewpoints that when they come together, I think it makes a great song. So for me, it's been a really cool learning curve to learn about all the differences in people's writing skills and performance skills. And I've learned so much over the last 3.5 years here.
All right, be honest with me. How many people will just immediately want to be your friend because of your accent?
Quite a few people. It's been a blessing, and it's a curse sometimes because some people are like, I'll jump in an Uber, and like the Uber driver, excuse my bad American accent, they're like, "Oh, dude, I'm 1/8 Scotch," and I'm like,
well, that was a pretty good
what does that actually mean? 1/8 Scotch? Like Scotch is what we drink right now. Like he's probably saying he's a little bit Scottish. But yeah, a lot of people just, I think they're just interested. You know, there's so much history from Scotland and Ireland and everybody coming over here, and I just like to talk about Scotland a little bit. I didn't realize how patriotic I was until I moved away.
Well, that kind of makes sense because, you know, I don't think Americans fully understand how much of a bond we have because we're so divisive in the States. But when you leave the United States and you go to another area in the world, if you say you're an American, you have an immediate bond. It doesn't matter what color you are or what you represent, you're an American.
Totally.
And I know you feel the exact same way when you meet another Scottish fellow as well here, right?
Well, there's so many over here now that I've started to realize, or so many people that it might be their grandfather or, you know, someone else that's close to them or somebody that studied abroad. Like you said, your girlfriend, you know, she was abroad and went to Scotland. And, you know, there's always, I'd say like probably like 60% of the people I meet around town, there's like some sort of connection to Scotland and Ireland. And I think that's amazing. And, you know, if they want to be my friend just because I'm Scottish, I'm all for it.
Well, you're also an amazing musician. So that's one thing. And then another thing that I've noticed is you kind of talked about it off air a little bit. I'm going to bring it in here straight up. Man, what's it like to see so many people in Nashville that are from all over the world? And I feel like they click up with you very easily because you guys all have that same commonality that you guys are not from the United States, but you guys are trying to make it here in Nashville, Tennessee. What's that camaraderie like with so many different people from Britain to Australian? Everyone I said you knew. What's up with that?
I think it's because we all kind of understand the struggle that it took for us to get here. Like, okay, we all did it. Okay, 99% of the people do it legally to come here and do music.
Shout out to that.
But it's hard work. Like, you know, we all, you know, you've got to go through the whole embassy, you know, process, jump through so many hoops, and it costs a little bit of money to get here, and then you're only guaranteed so many, you know, years before you need to reapply. So I just reapplied for I just got my second 3-year visa. And even after you're here, being quite successful, making progress, and doing everything the way you should, it's still quite a nerve-wracking process to reapply. So I think when you meet other people that have went through the same, trouble to get here, I appreciate that hustle, because it's so easy for somebody from Kentucky or Oklahoma or wherever to just say, I'm going to move to Nashville and pack up the car, drive down here and go live here for a year and go, it didn't work. I can just move back, no problem, and still be in America. Whereas here, like, I left the UK, came here and had no guarantee of anything, but I just knew that I needed to work my ass off. And I think when I see other people from other countries doing that, we just we want to help each other out. And sometimes it's nice to have a little foreign accent around you sometimes. Like, I'm used to the Southerners, and I'm very grateful to be here, but it's always nice to have an Irish accent or a, Australian accent.
Definitely gets you into doors. And what I will add to that is, what are some things that you actually truly miss about your hometown that Nashville just doesn't have it?
Wow. Okay, that's a good question. So my mum, she always wants me to come home. Every time she comes to visit, she's like,
as she should.
Yeah, she's like, so have you met like a British girl yet that's going to make you come home? I'm like, no, not yet. But things I miss, obviously my family. Like, my family, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here doing what I want to do. I'm very blessed and grateful for that. But in terms of like some foods, I'm a big fan of like real fish and chips. Like, you can say y'all do fish and chips here. You ain't getting,
Hey, give me the real deal. Tell me.
So it's kind of like a hole in the wall kind of place. It's like a takeout place. You go in, you probably wouldn't understand them if you walked into like my local in Scotland and ordered fish and chips. They'd be like, just talking slang Scottish,
Mm-hmm.
But it's very like battered cod, and then you've got really like fresh French fries, chips we call them, and then lots of salt and vinegar, and and sometimes you even as a treat get a deep fried Mars bar.
Ooh,
it's kind of like
that feels southern.
Yeah, well, it is actually. Now that you say it, it's probably got some relation to unhealthy things that are fried.
What is life without being a little unhealthy as we drink bourbon and talk about eating fried food? But speaking of that though, you talked about some Scottish slang. Mm-hmm. So I want you to give me your top 3 favorite Scottish slang words.
Okay, that's a hard one right now that I'm trying to think that you would understand.
I don't need to understand.
Like, are you coming or are you gone? Are you coming or are you gone? Yeah, it means like make your mind up. Like, are you coming or are you going? Like, what, are you coming in the door? Are you coming out? Like, just make up your mind. And I love that, because I'll say it here sometimes and the guys are like, but they now understand it. So
mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you coming or are you gone?
Give me 2 more.
Ken what I mean.
Ken what I mean?
It's like, do you know what I mean?
But what's the point of putting Ken in front of it?
Ken is just like, it's just like a short Ken what I mean.
Not a Ken doll.
No, Ken. Just I don't even know how you'd spell it. Ken, K-E-N, probably K-E-N. Ken.
Is that one word?
Ken, what I mean. No, it just sounds like one. It's just we talk a lot like that.
Okay, give me one more. Come on.
That's a hard one. I'm so used to not being here now, like being there now. If I think of one, I'll come up with it. Okay.
What happens is when you go back home, doesn't matter if you're from San Antonio, Texas, like me, or where exactly.
So I'm from Ayr, Scotland, AYR, on the southwest coast.
Doesn't matter where you come from, you will always go back to your native language without even trying. Isn't that weird that you can just turn it on when you just show up into the motherland? You pop in there, and I don't speak Spanish very much, mm-hmm. but when I go back to San Antonio, I start adding slang Spanish in my sentences. Are you the same way when you go back home?
I usually get laughed at when I walk into the bar from my buddies, because they're like, "Oh, here's the American guy," because like I'm so used to like I've had to tweak it a little bit so people understand. But after like let's say half a beer, I'm totally back to being normal. But you're right, it's just like when you're back home, it just feels comfortable, it feels natural, and that's your native tongue at the end of the day.
And so speaking of this, how are you able to go into country music and lose that accent that we all love so much when you talk to us?
It was definitely like a process. Like when I first started out, I did sing with a heavily Scottish accent. And I don't know, just over the years, like the more taste I got for actually having a full-on career in music was I was like, what are other people doing that resonates? And I looked at other foreign singers, you know, Keith Urban, guys like that are tremendous artists, very Australian when he talks, but you wouldn't really know he's Australian at all when he sings. So for me, it was like, okay, what can I do? And just over the years, it kind of grew into what it is now. And I think, you know, I effortlessly sing with a Southern accent now, but like, I think back like 5-6 years ago, I'd probably be like, what the hell? How do you sound like that when I talk like this?
Bro, you had a totally different look like 3 years ago, bro.
Oh, yeah.
You had the long hair.
Yeah.
I thought I saw a video without you having long hair.
I've had a lot of bad haircuts, yeah. I had a perm one time.
You know what? Really?
Yeah.
What's been your, so, you know, what, as you've evolved, not only sonically, not only musically, your hairstyles have evolved. Which part of your evolution are you now? I see the mullet. I like it. Is this your favorite right now?
I don't know. Someone said I was in my bad boy era, but I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But
Well, do you feel like you are?
I don't know. I've got a leather jacket.
Oh yeah, well, hey, and you know what you got too? You got the rings. You can only be a bad boy if you got the rings, you already got the tats, you got the mullet, you're drinking whiskey, you got the boots on with skinny jeans. Come on, bro.
I'm trying, you know. For a foreign boy out here, you know, I'm trying.
But it's hard to be damn broke, ain't it?
Well, in Nashville, it can be pretty easy.
Talk to me about your single Damn Broke, bro.
I wrote that song with another Scottish guy, Callum Kerr. So he's one of my good friends, and he and I put out a song together called Tamed by Tennessee, and that's my biggest song. He's an actor, and he's been over here a little bit longer than me, but does music now, best friend. But we were writing one day, and he's like, man, you know, you need this kind of like, with your new image, you need a song that's like just really about you. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, you know, the guy that's hangs out at the bar and he loves country music and is a single guy and is young and just, you know, is a happy dude, just likes to be
around people,
you know, a people person. And I was like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh, you'll end up damn broke doing that though. And he goes, that's what we're writing today. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? And he goes, well, how about it? It's like, it's a heartbreak song for a girl that needs their heart unbroke for maybe it's one night or 2 nights or, you know, maybe forever, you know, but let's just write a song about that. And that's what we did. And I brought it to my producer, Seth Michael, and we just kind of tried to do some cool stuff, very modern Morgan Wallen kind of vibe. And yeah, we got a really cool one, and I'm excited to see what happens with it.
You know what? I'm going to ask you this question. You don't got to give me the exact number, but what is the lowest you've ever seen the bank account?
On me? Oh, I did. I've been negative for sure. Yeah.
You've been negative?
Oh yeah. Back when I first moved here in my first 6 months, like I'd burned through my savings pretty quick because I didn't. You know, it's quite hard to get your foot in the door in Nashville.
Yeah.
And you got some weird foreign guy with a guitar going, "Hey, can I come and play here or come and listen to my songs? I'd love to write for your company." They're like, "Yeah, cool, man." So the first like 6 months, it was pretty tough. Burnt through my savings, and I remember my mum and dad came to visit, and my mum was like, she was like, dude, I don't think you made the right decision, like leaving your job to come here. And I was like, in denial about it. I was like, no, I'm totally fine. But I think looking back now, I was like, wow, that was like a pretty humbling and a pretty educational part of my life. Like it really did, you know, go, okay, you got to get it together. Like you got to be more structured and sensible with your life. But yeah, for sure, I've been definitely damn broke before.
Well, you know, talk to the person that's watching this right now, because a lot of people, myself included, we feel comfortable in situations where we may not have a lot of money, but the thing is, I feel it in my bones. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You may feel exactly in your bones. You may not have a lot of money in the bank, but I guarantee you have something in you saying, I'm in the right spot right now. So give a little piece of advice to someone that's watching this right now who is damn broke, but they know they're doing the right thing.
Man, I think if you believe it at the end of the day, if you just believe what you're doing, and I think you can't do a creative job unless you genuinely believe it with every inch of your body. Like I wake up in the morning, like even still to this day, and go, what am I aspiring to be next? Like whether it's me walking up to collect a CMA award, or whether it's, you know, playing the Grand Ole Opry, you know, five times, or for your fourth or fifth time, you've got to believe it. And I think as hard as it is sometimes, like everybody doubts himself, dude. Like, you know, I'm sure Morgan Wallen doubts himself, Post Malone doubts themselves at times. That's just part of being a human. But I think believe it and trust the process. Don't take too much risk that it messes you up. Like, don't take like a bank loan for like $1 million and like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a big country singer. Like, that's an unrealistic risk. But you got to take some risks and know that there's going to be an investment into it. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get the reward for that, risk. But I think you should always surround yourself with people that believe in you. And there's a lot of bad people out there that are going to be like, dude, I believe in you, come with me, and lead you astray. But believe in yourself, have a team around you that are good people that just want to work with you. And everybody knows it's going to take some time. It's not called a 10-year town for no reason. So I think, wake up every morning and work. Just because it's a cool job that we can sit here and drink whiskey and before I go and play a gig to 150, 200 people, women always want to talk to me, like, you still got to work your ass off. At the end of the day, it's a job. So treat it like a job and believe in yourself. And I think, the right things will happen at the right time.
Well, you know what? I'm going to treat this moment like a job and take a pause in this video to thank the sponsors of this episode. We'll be right back with Chris right after this. This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLTS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. We never talk about the band. We never talked about the folks that are honing their craft to become legit. So when I think about you right now, and you are killing it right now at Losers, and you also play at Duck Blind.
Yes, sir.
And talk to me about what's that like to be on the band, tearing it up for all different types of acts, and then the following that comes along just to see you.
It's been a really cool experience. As I said, when I moved here, I was struggling to find any gigs that would take me on regularly. And I'll never forget, the only reason I got that gig, it used to be Winners back in the day. I was dating a girl that worked there at the time. She was a bartender, and I walked in and I would go there and hang out with her and drink when she was working. And all of a sudden, the management got to know me, and they were like, dude, this guy didn't show up for his gig. I know you live around the block. Do you want to come and play? And I was like, all right, cool. And it was such like you got to be there at the right moment at the right time for that to happen. And that could have just been okay, you fill in one time, you get paid a little bit of cash, and that's it. But fast forward, I just became the guy for the first little while I would be, if you need some help, I'll be there for that bar. And I think they got to see that, I was very grateful for those opportunities, and I eventually got the opportunity to be in the house band, or one of the house bands at Losers. And it's just been an amazing experience. The amount of people I've met, fans, people that became really good friends. My bandmates, we get to travel around the US and play. I'm trying to get them over to Europe to play with me on the road over there as well. All visa, approval wise, but we'll see. And then, you get some cool perks, like my friends were visiting and Riley Green's in there and they got to go and take a picture with them. And, there's always some famous people hanging around.
Always.
It's just been a blessing in disguise, because a lot of people come here and they might get the TikTok blowing up, they have a video and some of these big labels come knocking, but they've never played a gig in their life. And okay, I'm maybe on the other extreme where I'm, a honky-tonkin' band. I play like 260 gigs a year. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of gigs to play. But in my eyes, it's like, if I get any call, let's say Josh Turner or Luke Combs or somebody random goes, hey man, we got chit-chatting to somebody that said you should come on tour with us. Are you ready to go next week? We're like that, yeah.
Well, it takes a lot, because I think about all the times that you had to practice your craft. No one's just ever amazing at being, whether you're in a house band or a musician. There's two very different ports of that, because when I think about you, you also are creating music. You're writing your own music. You're producing your own music. You're making songs. But also, when you think about a house band, you're thinking about someone that's kind of behind the scenes but driving the ship. Mm-hmm. So which one's your favorite? Do you like to drive the ship and just let someone do, some of the work? Or do you like to be the person in front and having people drive you?
I quite like to be like, the problem is with my job, everybody assumes that you love to be like the center of attention, right? You like to be in the limelight because you're, the lead singer of the band or your own artist. And don't get me wrong, that's of course part of what we do, is that you've got to accept that people are going to talk to you. Girls are going to want to chit-chat to you. There's all these perks of being the lead singer, but I'm quite an introverted person, which people don't understand. But I like to talk, but quite often, if I get the chance to be my own, I will be my own. Like, I've always been that way. Like, I've lived abroad since I was like 19. Like, I'm totally okay of just going and resetting my life and being alone. And but I think it's been quite cool being able to do a little bit of both. You know, as you said, being in the house band, I'm the band leader, I'm running the band, and you know, we're playing to everybody 4 or 5 days a week. But then there's also the other side where I'm completely just a songwriter. You know, I'm sometimes not just writing for me, I'm writing for other artists, and it's nice to have that balance of doing a little bit of both. So to answer your question, what I originally moved here to do was just write songs. But recently what I found is like I kind of fell into the artist live performance field, and I'm starting to love it more than ever. And I'm excited to see what the opportunities come this year. We're working on some really cool stuff.
I mean, it's important because I think about there's so many people in this world that have never played a gig, like you said. They have a song blow up on TikTok or an opportunity just blow up, and they get nervous when they go to a honky tonk. What's it like to have people in the crowd jamming to your music or jamming to the house music? It's a totally different vibe from playing in front of a camera. Do you prefer being out there in the crowd versus, you know, doing a lot of the marketing behind doing your songs?
Yeah, that's like a really like prominent topic right now in music. Me and all my friends are talking about it. Look, at the end of the day, like, I moved here just to do music. Like, whether that was just to write songs or be the artist that cuts the songs. Like, that's all I wanted to do. But it was in that process of during COVID, you know, when I was making the decision to actually move here, that I was like, oh God, TikTok became so prominent. And look, I get it. It's part of the game, Instagram Reels, and it's just part of the industry now. I'm not a big fan of it. And maybe I'm just not a big fan of it because some of it hasn't taken off the way I wanted it to. You know, like, I'm sure if I was sat here with 15 million, you know, followers on TikTok, I'd be laughing and be like, oh yeah, dude, it's the best thing ever. But for me, it's not my favorite thing. I'd much rather I believe it should be about the music, about the connection you really have with fans, and not just a swiping situation. You're like, oh, that guy's funny, but like, he could just be doing a skit, but you don't like his music, but you've just gained him, you know, so many thousand views because you're sharing
that doesn't necessarily mean views. So the thing is, I think about when growing up in Texas, there's something, you know, Texas country.
Yeah.
The thing about Texas artists and Texas country artists, they can make a pure living just performing in the state of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not because they have a large following on Instagram or TikTok. It's because they do what you do. They meet people out in the crowd, make a genuine conversation. So next time when I go to Losers or Riley's Bar, I'm going to go not only to see who's playing, I'm going to see you, bro.
You're right. Like, I think that's what people forget, because the world's became so social media driven that it's okay, yeah, you get followers, but you can't beat a handshake. How you doing, buddy? Great to meet you. I'll remember you the next time you come to my gig. Here's a free t-shirt, here's a signed hat, or whatever it is, you know. And you know, big props to all the Texas boys. I'm big friends with like Clay Hollis and a lot of those guys, and you know, I'm like, why are you never moving to Nashville? And they're like, why the hell would I move to Nashville? We don't need to. Like, we're making bank down here, we're making genuine fans, and we're making, you know, Texas radio. And it wasn't until I kind of followed them a little bit, the more I got to know them, and I was like, you guys are just doing a similar thing to what I'm doing, but in Texas, and I really respect the hustle. And you know, if the TikTok and Instagram stuff blows up as well while you're at it, that's another benefit, you know.
You know, Chris, I want to ask you this question. I asked this to the last guest, and I love the question. So I want you to give me your number one favorite thing that you love to do in your profession. It could be performing. It could be meeting fans. It could be the vibe you get when you're on stage. I want you to give me the highlight, but I also want you to give me what's the thing that you do not like the most. What's the thing that you just cannot stand, but you got to do it to be successful?
My favorite thing that I like to do, or about what I do, is it's probably just seeing like when I play an original song, you know, like it's usually from an experience that I've went through, you know, whether it's someone passing or a breakup or a really good day that you wanted to remember and encapsulate in a song. And then you play it and you see whether there's 100 people in the crowd, and let's say only 2 people are really, really listening. You know, they might be having beers, the rest of the people. But if I can see 2 people completely go, oh, wow, I've been through that before, or I know exactly what that guy's talking about, or I felt that, or they have a little tear in their eye if it's a sad song, or whatever. I just feel like that's my purpose, is to make someone, is to try to impact someone in a positive way, or make someone go, oh man, that makes me think of my mum that passed away, or my grandfather, or something, you know, whatever. Like, it just to see someone's day change, because you never know what somebody's going through, man. Like,
100%.
We all look like we're having a good time stood in a bar listening to a gig, but everybody's got their shit. So I think for me, that's the best part for my job, is when I see somebody come up at the end of the night and go, man, that song that you played, that was somebody's favorite song, or that's me and my girlfriend's song, we're getting married next month, I'd love you to come and play the wedding, or some random stuff, you know. So that's probably the best thing. The thing I least like about my job, there's a lot of okay, right now I know I do play a lot in Nashville, but you know, because I do what I do spend a lot of time away from home, away from my family. And I'm quite a strong, independent person. I'm okay with doing that. Technology allows for me to talk to my family every day. But I've missed out on a lot of cool things, you know, just because I'm over here, you know, honing my craft and getting better. Like, you know, my sister she's pregnant, and, you know, I missed I got told she was pregnant, you know, and then when my sister got married, I missed the engagement. There's a lot of random things. I know that's just an example, you know, your grandmother passing away and things. There's a lot of things that, you know, you kind of take for granted when you live at home and you're only 10 minutes, 15 minutes drive away from people. And that's one thing, like, I put on a big front about, like, and everybody's like, oh yeah, you obviously don't miss home at all. Of course I do. You know, but for me, it's just, that's probably the hardest thing. It's just like knowing that, you know, you're trying your best, and they know that too. But, you know, sometimes it would be nice to have your family over here full time. But apart from that, I love what I do, and you know, the good times always beat the bad times, and that's what keeps you going in this industry for me.
You know, time never stops. You know, and that's the hardest thing. And I may not be going across the world, right, to go back home. My home is in Texas. But the thing is, though, I realize that every time I go back home to see my family, or when I have the opportunity to go, time hasn't stopped. Totally. My dad got a new wrinkle. My mom looks a little older, and it's scary, because the more that we're away from our families, chasing after what we believe so passionately, you just get that moment of like, damn, I wish time could stop. I wish my parents could stay the age they are every day. But it's wild. So I can only imagine what it must be like to be halfway across the world chasing a dream, but when your family is overseas, you know? Yeah,
and you hit the nail on the head there. Like, every time I go back, you know, there's two sides to the story. So you go back, you see your family, and I'm like, oh, fuck, everybody is looking a little bit older, you know? Like, and there's, I mean, I am too, you know, I'm putting weight on and becoming a grown man, you know, and but you know, the energy, the love there stays the same, you know, everybody, but you know, it's hard to come back and see your grandparents get a little bit older. And you know, my grandfather, both of my grandfathers, but my grandfather on my mum's side, he was like my best friend. Like, my dad and traveled a lot with work, so through the week they would look after me. And you know, he's called Arnold, so every time I see him, I'm like, you know, I can tell he's getting a bit older, but you know, that's just life. So that's one side of the story. But the other side of it for me is like, so time moves on for certain people, but then I go home and I go to the bar on like Christmas Eve, and some of the boys are just still talking about the stuff that we did, you know, when we were 16, 17, 18. And I love to reminisce. I think reminiscing is good. But there's certain reminders as to like, you know, I'm still, as much as it's hard to leave home sometimes, I still remember why I came out here. It was to, you know, do something that I couldn't do back home. So like, to try and do music at home, it must be very difficult. Like, I've got the biggest respect for like the UK country artists that remain in the UK. Don't get me wrong, you know, all the big festivals over there, C2C, Buckle and Boots, Long Road, they're all doing great things for country music, bringing over US artists and bringing up the UK artists to play with them. But it must be so difficult to get, like, because my opinion was, when I played music in the UK, it was kind of like, you can play, but you're kind of in the background, you know, like, we'll pay bare minimum. Mm-hmm. It's not a tipping culture. So how did you really make money? Oh, people bought me 4 beers. Oh, that's cool. You know, that's not going to pay my student loan off, you know? But, so that it's a blessing for me. So when I go back home, it's like, wow, I miss my family. They're all still healthy, you know, hopefully. They're a little bit older, but then you come back and I'm like, okay, I've got a reminder and the motivation to go back to Nashville and work even harder than I've ever done every time.
I love that answer because it's true. I think we all think about our friends that never left home. And that's anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world.
And there's nothing wrong with that, you know.
There's nothing. And some people are just happy being back at home. But I think what I've learned about Nashville, and I'm sure you think the same way, we're all a bunch of people that just thought we can take on the world, and we all moved into the same city. We all have the same mindset. No one from Nashville, in the city of Nashville, very few are actually from the city.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a bunch of dreamers, a bunch of people that are trying to chase after it. So we all kind of have the similar mindset. That's why I think it's so easy to just meet you today, but have a deeper conversation because we relate to that. Now, bring it back to what it's like to play overseas. You brought up a lot. So I saw that Manchester. Have you played Manchester before?
So I have not. We play there in about 3 weeks' time. We're playing a festival down there, Buckle and Boots.
Buckle and Boots. And now talk to me about, but you played overseas before.
Oh, yeah. I've played all over the UK. I've played some places in Europe as well. So
talk to me about what it's like to be a musician there when I hear so much positivity about people that are listening. The audiences over there in the UK are completely different from the United States audience. So talk a little bit about that.
100%. Like I grew up playing music in Glasgow. That was the city that I grew up going to college, and that's like a really good music hub in the UK. But the thing is, like, if you get a Glasgow crowd in the palm of your hand and you've got them, you know, they're in your hand, that's one of the best crowds you'll ever get. And the people, a lot of artists will say that, you know. I know a lot of people come to cities like, oh, you're the best crowd we've ever played to. But they genuinely say that about a Glasgow crowd. But also in Scotland, the Glasgow crowd can also be the hardest crowd to get into your palm of your hand. So it's a very different vibe, you know, like it's, they're very much about you understanding them, I think, in Scotland. You know, if you go in there and try and be like overly American and like not kind of come over there and give a cheers and, you know, maybe be drinking a Scottish beer or something, you know, and a little toast to them, they're going to love you. But if you go there and show up with like a bald eagle or something, they're going to be like, it doesn't resonate with us. So for what I learned was like, you got to go there and obviously different parts of the world, give off your vibe, your own thing. But I love traveling. So I think for me, it was like, go and experience those new kind of vibes and those energies and learn from it. I'm not saying every gig's been good. You know, some gigs you go there and you're like, oh, shit, they didn't really understand what I was all about there, and I learned from that. But my favourite crowds are definitely, obviously, Glasgow. That's my hometown. We did a gig in December. We had over 600 people sold out a venue, and it was so special, just people singing my songs. And then you get the polar opposite. I moved here and you play to Nashville, and sometimes there's nobody listening, you know. They say it's a writer's round, but sometimes nobody's listening, you know. They're just hanging out, networking. And I get it. I do the same thing. And then you do the other extreme. You go to Vegas. We played 10 days in Vegas at MGM, and you're getting people that are absolutely loaded with cash coming through there and buying tickets and put money in your tip jar and trying to take you out to their ranch to play their private event for 10 grand, you know. So it's been a real big learning curve for me. But I think every gig, every time you step on that stage for me is a learning curve. Why would it not be? I think if you get comfortable in what you're doing, I don't think you're going to progress much more than that. You know,
speaking of being uncomfortable, you said Glasgow, right, is one of the tougher clubs, tougher cities in the world to play. I want you to take me to Nashville. What is one of the toughest stages you've ever played on?
Oh, for me, probably the Bluebird. I got to play the Bluebird twice now. I'll never forget the first time. I didn't even know I wasn't supposed to play. My buddy was playing, and he goes, I'm playing the song that you wrote for me. And he goes, come along, I got you guest, you know, VIP. And I sit there and I sit down, and all of a sudden I noticed there was 4 chairs in the round, but there was only 3 guys. And he goes, oh yeah, by the way, the guy that was supposed to play is not playing, so you're coming up to play. And I was like, oh my goodness me. I'd only been here for like a year and a half, and that was a milestone for me. So I was used to playing loud, rowdy crowds, especially a Glasgow crowd, very drunk. Mm-hmm. So you go from that to like a listening room environment, like silence, and people filming and really just listening and getting into the vibe and the energy. So I think the Bluebird, the first time I played the Bluebird was probably one of the hardest. And then I don't know, the listening room's always a good time because people I think it's hard because people genuinely are listening, you know, and not everybody's going to like your music. So I think that when it's real raw music, it's silent and people are just genuinely, but that's also where you get the best connection. So it's like it's a hard room, because if you don't present yourself well enough or deliver your message well enough, that's when it can be different. But if you're on your A game, people are going to love it. And, you know, I love the listening room environments, you know, Bluebird. And
Talk to me about your live show. Walk me in as a person who's just being a fan, and I show up. What can I expect at your live show?
So for a Chris Andreucci show, you know, we like to have a good time. I don't hide that I'm from Scotland. Like to have a few drinks. We walk out there, we do a big old cheers with everybody. Usually a Jameson whiskey if we're over here. I'll drink a Jameson, and we'll kick it off. We do a lot of obviously all my original stuff, but we love 90s country music. So George Strait, Garth Brooks, all that kind of stuff. And we'll bring in a few modern songs, you know, your Zach Tops, your Morgan Wallen, just to spice it up, keep everybody that doesn't know all the originals yet, we keep them entertained. And it's just, man, I just want to make people feel good, whether it's tonight's a Wednesday night, whether it's a Wednesday night and it's raining and it's about to storm in Nashville or whatever. I want someone, whether it's a Wednesday night or a Saturday night, to feel the same way and have the best time and let their hair down and forget about that stupid stuff like, tax or you know, like, you know, all this stuff that some people, or I've got debt, or, you know, I'm worried about my job or whatever, all this stuff. Like, if I can get people out of that reality for whether it's one beer or 4 hours or whatever, I think that's kind of what the Chris Andreucci show is all about. And I love just at the end of the gig walking over and, you know, high-fiving somebody and talking to them. And I'm more interested in how they've had a better time over those 2, 3, 4 hours over the gig than I've had. I don't care what's happened to me, but I care about them.
What do you think is, out of your discography, the most underrated song?
Well, there's a lot that's probably not been released, but I think my most underrated song, I got challenged with the task of writing a song for my sister and her now husband's wedding. And, you know, someone that writes, you know, a good couple hundred songs a year, for the last few years, I do it every year. See, when I'm overly tasked with something, see when they're like, oh yeah, write a song about your podcast. Like, you would be like, oh, that's easy because you do it every day. It's hard because you don't want to fall into all the pitfalls of maybe a little bit cringy at the way you're wording it, especially with a love song about someone that's like family and everybody knows. So I must have wrote that song for my sister and her husband, I don't know, about 10 times before I thought I got it right. It's called Written in Rock. It is released, and I released it on the day they got married. And it's like, you know, I love you till our names are written on a headstone kind of thing, you know. And it's not morbid, it's quite heartfelt. But I just think it's a little bit underrated in the terms of like just by streaming. But every time I play the song live, especially in Glasgow, because people really know the story, they appreciate it. But that's probably the song that was the hardest to write, but I'd probably say the most like underappreciated, because maybe people don't get the real story.
I love it. Well, you know what? I got a fun game. We're going to do 2 spins of the wheel that I just incorporated in the show this year. And I'll leave you with my last 2 questions. Oh, I didn't see you guys there. Hey, if you're enjoying the content that we provide, please consider subscribing to our Heart of the Gulch YouTube show. Hit the subscribe button that's right in front of you, or hit the Heart of the Gulch logo over here in the corner. And of course, like magic, hit the recommended subscribe button that's over here in the banner. We would love to have you guys here at the Heart of the Gulch YouTube channel, and let's get you back onto that interview right now. So, Chris, before I start my game here, I want to ask you about some habits that you're happy about and you're not so happy about. So give me 2 habits that you love that you do, and then 2 habits that you don't love to do.
Getting to do what I love. You know, when I didn't do music full time, I didn't have a lot of time for myself. And I think for me now that I've got my life set up the way that I like, I get to play golf, I get to enjoy the sunshine, I get to have a couple beers. So that's one of my favorite
habits. What's your handicap? I'm curious.
It's not as good as you think. It used to be much better. But we're working on it. I try to be health conscious, you know, like with our lifestyle, it's pretty easy not to be. You know, there's a lot of alcohol, a lot of fast food, a lot of late nights. But I do pride myself on having the habits of waking up in the morning and having, you know, a green shake and creatine and, you know, make sure you're always getting a sweat on at some point.
Yeah, you look like you work out.
I do okay. I mean, I could probably look after myself a little bit more, but that is a habit that I've definitely actively tried to continue to do and to improve on. That's maybe one of the habits that's like, I don't know, late nights, and it's kind of taken its toll on me. That's probably one of the main ones.
Well, speaking of habits, talk to me about your single Habit.
Yes, I got a new song coming out. Yeah, so this is going to be the third single, and then we're going to package it all up together with an additional couple of songs by the end of the year. Habit's just like a kind of stereotypical love song, but I've been jamming out to kind of some old school like Blake Shelton and kind of mid-2000s country over the last like 6 months to a year, and kind of throwing it back, you know, when I first got back into country.
Hey, Blake Shelton, early 2000s.
Bangers, man.
Bangers.
Just toe tapping, like Honeybee, all that kind of stuff. And I just remember being like 16, driving in my car in Scotland and putting it on and nobody knowing the words apart from me with the windows down singing. And I was like, man, maybe there's an opportunity, because 90s country's coming back, you know, with Zach Top and stuff. So I was like, maybe there's an opportunity. Let's just do a single that's very much in that kind of vein of the mid-2000s Blake Shelton stuff. So I wrote that song with Stacey Kelleher, and I just said, man, like, you know, I've got a lot of bad habits, you know, drinking too much, being up late, blah, blah, blah. But what happens if I could make a habit out of her, you know? And it's like, I've calmed down a lot of the other shit in my life, but she came in and you just become enthralled with her, like addicted to her. She's just like the most perfect thing that you can't get enough of. So we wrote a love song about that called Habit. And it's pretty cool. It's catchy. And I'm just excited this is like the first time I've actually really been involved in the production process. Like I usually would give it up to the producer and just say, can I do whatever? But we both sat there, Seth and I, for a good amount of time and thought about the kind of vibe we wanted to chase. And okay, there is a kind of collective approach to the project, but we're also just doing stuff like, I just want to put out stuff that I'm going to look back on in 5 years and go, that's still really catchy. Or not go, oh, that's kind of dated, because you tried to keep up with a trend that was never going to last. So why not repeat a trend that's still popular? So that's kind of where we're at. I'm really excited. We don't have a release date for that one yet, but that's actually the one I'm most excited on, because it wasn't supposed to be on the project. And we had another song called Beer Down Here, and it's like a kind of Luke Combsy, there must be something in the beer down here, about a guy that goes to Mexico because he drinks enough beer and he forgets about his ex, you know. And it's been done before, but I love the idea.
Do you create characters? It sounds like when you just describe these couple songs that you got, right? So we describe Damn Broken Habit. It sounds like you've created a character for each person. You're just writing about their life. Do you go into creating songs like a character?
I try to pull a lot from personal experience, but I will be honest, like there's a lot of songs that I put out that I've not fully experienced everything. So that's when I do pull from conversations I've had. Like say you and I, you know, off air, we have a conversation about something, about you moving away or whatever. You know, I will sit there and probably randomly, subconsciously take some notes about that. And if I walk into a writing room tomorrow and someone's like, I want to write a song about, you know, somebody that's packing his bags and leaving, and I'm like, okay, cool. And like subconsciously you're pulling from a character, whether that character is actually real, as a real person that you've spoken to or not, but I can picture somebody that's like experienced those things, and that's what I try and do. I try and pull from. So I like to say like about half of my songs are full on stuff that I've cried about, stuff that I've been upset about, or stuff that I've experienced or loved, or people that I've loved. And then sometimes it is just a character or somebody that you've overheard in a bar, you've kind of earwigged in. Somebody sat there talking about something, and you're like, oh, that's a cool idea, and you note it down on your phone.
I want you to bring up this the spin the wheel game that I just brought. We're gonna spin 2 times.
Okay.
And each time I want you to read the question they have and just answer to your best ability. All right.
Go ahead. Should I spin it first before looking?
Yeah, spin it first before looking. Let's
do
it.
I like that. You know, gambling.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, wow. Who's your country singer hall pass? I love that. See, because I'm single now, I can answer this properly. All right. Do you want me to spin it again or answer this one?
No. Answer that question. Let's see.
So my country music hall pass. So now that I'm single, I'll be honest. Kelsey Ballerini's pretty good looking. Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with Kelsey Ballerini.
I think if I was to get it, if I was in a relationship and someone was, and my partner was like, all right, you've got one night to go with anybody in country music, she'd probably be up there.
Chris, give me your honky tonk queen in a bar. You're in a bar. You just got done playing. Actually, you're playing your set right now at Losers. You're playing your set and you're seeing someone at the end of the bar. What does that person look like?
I'm a sucker for the Southern girls. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the accent, if it's the drawl. I don't know what it is.
Wait, I'm visual, man. Give me a
yeah.
What she look like?
If it's the summertime, she's looking good. You know, she's got her boots on. She's got some shorts on. Daisy Dukes. She's probably drinking a beer, man. I'm a pretty like.
Do you judge a girl the type of beer she drinks? Do you judge that?
Well, I can't judge anybody. I drink Busch Light, but if I see a girl drinking a Busch Light, I'm like, she's one or two girls, you know, like she's either just like damn broke, you know, promoting
like
the song,
yeah,
or she's more redneck than me, and it probably won't work. So I don't know. I just like girls that are like out there to have a good time and just honest people, you know, and just like want to be nice. And
what's one personality trait in a girl that you just do not like?
Oh, that I don't like? Wow. Probably if they're a little bit too bougie. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of think they're like, unless you're spending, like, I don't mind spending money on nice things. Like, I love a nice meal. Like, I grew up in Europe. Like, I've eaten at a lot of nice places around the world and experienced nice things. But, like, when they're like, unless the gesture involves money or, like, I'm like, that's nothing to do with love. Like, I could bring you back, like, gas station flowers and a cheap bottle of wine, and the gesture for me is there that you love someone. She's had a bad day, she come back, you run her a bath, like, and that's one thing. Maybe that's just me getting older now. Like, back in the day, I would probably try and spend a lot of money just to try and woo them, but now that I'm career driven and do my own thing, I'm like, I think if they're a little bit too bougie, it's probably not for me. And I've just learned that the hard way. You know, like, I've been in relationships where I'm like, oh, that's the kind of woman I want. And then fast forward 6 months or 3 years in other cases, you're like...
I feel that. You know, actually, so let's do one more spin the wheel. I love where that took us. Let's see. Come on.
Okay. It was a bigger spin.
Ooh, I love this question.
Weirdest thing you've ever autographed? Okay, this is hilarious. I've got a video of it, actually.
Oh, wait, all right. What's the weirdest thing you've ever autographed?
It's a female breast.
Really? Okay.
Did
she get it tatted?
No, but I do have another thing that got tatted on somebody, though. So I'll give you the experience. So the breast, do you call it a breast? What do you call it over here? Like a titty? A chest. Okay.
Chest.
Okay. I don't want to say titty in case it's inappropriate.
You already said it.
I know. Sorry. But yeah, I had actually all my friends from Scotland in town here, and I was showing them downtown, and we walked into the stage, and there was a big group of us, pretty drunk, well on, and I'll never forget, my buddies went out for a smoke, and they were like, they met these girls. I was inside, and they said, oh, we know this Scottish singer in Nashville. And they were like, oh, it's our friend Chris. And they were like, oh, no way, you know Chris. So they came in, and she was a gorgeous lady. And they were like, she wants your autograph. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, where do you want to sign? And she, in the middle of the bar, she just like got her full chest out. And I was like, whoa, all right, it's like 2 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon, but let's do this. So we did the whole thing, and I got so nervous that I messed up the signature.
Do you remember your first ever signature?
Yeah. It was probably a long time ago. I've been playing music for a long time, which I forget. Like, I'm not saying it was always as good as it was. You know, a lot of it was kind of Scottish rock music back in the day, but probably like, what the year is it, 2025? Probably about 10 years ago I signed my first autograph, and I'm sure I'll randomly get like Snapchat memories or Instagram memories that people share with me, and they're like, remember that? And I'm like, no way. Like, I'll sign like my first band's CD and they've still got it in their car, you know?
That is the nicest feeling when you see a friend or a fan that once has that CD that you thought is not on DSPs, that's just somewhere on MySpace.
Like, I don't even have that CD anymore. Like,
you know how crazy that is? And they're holding it.
Oh yeah.
They're holding it for you for the moment that they see you again on TV or whatever, and you go and you sign it. That is probably one of the most flattering experiences ever, huh?
It's humbling, it's really nice. Like, it makes you like, it's nice to see the progress you make, but it's also nice to remember, like, man, where you came from. Like, I could never have envisioned this life where I'm at right now, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. But like, looking back at 10 years ago when I was playing bad rock music in Scotland in a small town, I was like, to think that I'd be sat here having a conversation about my career and about my journey to Nashville, I could never have imagined that. So I think it's a blessing, man.
Well, I love it. Well, let me leave you my last two questions here.
Okay.
So my first to the last question talks about imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
We all have that moment of someone talking in the back of their head, right? The internal you saying you can't do something. You shouldn't be here. You're not good enough to be here. But you made it through and you put one foot in the other, and now you're sitting here with me. And the thing is, there's people that are watching this right now that have that same question. They're scared to take that first step because they got that little voice in the back of their head. So what are some tricks, some tips that you do to not let that imposter syndrome take over? And what pieces of advice can you give the person that's watching this right now?
Mm-hmm. I think for me that got me over it was realizing that all these other guys and girls that are here doing country music and whatever dream you're chasing, but for me it was country music. And what I realized was that everybody else that has sat here in this room or in these writing rooms over the years has felt the same way. And it started to I started to get an understanding when I would listen to podcasts with Hardy and people like Morgan and all these guys, and they were like, they went through the exact same thing. And if these guys are going through her country to the bone, and now the biggest, names in country music might go down, as some of the best songwriters in country music, the fact that they went through that, everybody experiences it. So once I realized it wasn't just me, of course you're going to doubt yourself. Of course you're going to go, man, I'm not on it this month. I'm not writing any good songs. I've got no ideas. My voice hasn't been as good recently. And I think for me, it's just know that everybody goes through that same struggle, and don't be too hard on yourself because half of it's in your head. So if you're like, man, I'm not on it today, like I'll feel that in my head. Like, let's say I'm not feeling it tonight. I go on stage and I get off and I'm like, that wasn't the best gig. I'll hear videos and I'm like, well, I sound probably better than I've ever sounded. What the hell? But it's all in your head. So for me, it's just like, don't be too hard on yourself. Make sure you just work every day and be true, be honest, and that's all you can do. And man, everybody's experiencing the same struggle, the same feelings. It's just life.
I love that, man. That was such a great answer. What are you looking forward to, Chris, the rest of this year and the top of 2026?
Okay, so the rest of this year, we've got a bunch of traveling to do, a lot of gigs on the road. We're going to the UK a bunch of times. We're going to Vegas. I'm going to Canada for the first time. Never been to Canada. And then it's not announced yet, but it will be announced when this goes live so I can say it. We're doing the rerun of the gig we did last year in Glasgow on December 28th, so 600 cap. All original music. We sold it out last year, so we're ready to do it again. So I'm just looking forward to getting on the road again, bringing the music to the people that are completely changing my life every day, listening, streaming and sharing my music. I'm getting to see my family a little bit during that process as well, so I'm excited for that. And then 2026, the top of 26, we're doing a cruise ship. I'm playing a cruise ship. So it's called Music City Set Sails. It's me and a bunch of artists that I'm big fans of and my good friends. It leaves New Orleans on middle of January, and it's about 5 days. We're all playing a few gigs, and I can't wait. I've never been on a cruise either. I've traveled a lot of places, but never been on a cruise. I'm not
saying if you need to be single on that cruise, because if you find someone in this time frame, that's amazing too. But I'm telling you right now, cruise ships is a whole nother thing when it comes to having fun. It is. There's a lot of people out on cruise ships, and they're all looking just to have an amazing experience. So cruise ships are one of the funnest things. Just not in January. Those waves are gonna get you. So you better make sure that you take the whatever that pill is to make you not feel as wobbly, bro.
I'm pretty good at seasickness, but I never know. But if you drink enough Fireball or whatever, you know,
a fact.
yeah.
And they put out all the good alcohol once you leave the dock. So that's another thing. Get the drink package. Wait, speaking of which, I do want to talk about before we leave here is that, you know, chances of getting an EP. Are there chances in 2025 or 2026 of getting an EP?
Yes, sir. So we've got those 3 singles, Lonely's out, Damn Broke, and Habits coming out. And then what we're going to do is package that into like a 5 or 6 song EP. So by the end of the year, we're going to have a kind of mini album EP thing. And I'm stoked about it. I've not put out a proper project since 2019 or something.
Wow.
You know? So it's all been singles. So I'm really excited. And, you know, Trevor with the PR team and my manager Jensen, they're all, you know, direct me in the best way possible. So I'm very grateful for them.
Chris, thank you so much for coming to the Heart of the Gulch, bro.
Dude, thanks for having me. That was awesome.
Man, this was such a great conversation.
Thanks for the whiskey as well. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate you drinking with me. And hey, my name is Tony Mendoza. We're still here in the Heart of the Gulch, and I'll see you guys next time. See y'all later.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks, man. That was awesome. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, stay right there. I gotta get the a photo.
Cool.
That's it. What a fun comment. That was a fun
That was awesome. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I'd love to get one as well. Just.